Hi everyone, Brady Joker here reviewing 2016 Manchester by the Sea. This is a movie I really needed to make a review on a couple days after watching it because, man, there's a lot to think and a lot to say about this movie. So let me give you a rundown of what this movie is about. It's about this guy named Lee Chandler. Sad dude. Really upset. You can just tell he hates everything in his life. He's played expertly by Casey Affleck. And he gets a call saying that his older brother has died. And he goes back to his hometown, which is Manchester. And he has to relive his past trauma while dealing with his new trauma with his brother dying and having to take care of his brother's son, making him his nephew. And yeah, if you're ever just sitting like alone and you're like super sad and you just feel like crying, I'd recommend turning this one on. Now, I mean, personally, I didn't cry. I haven't cried in a movie in like a year and a half. It's been a long time since I've cried. The last one to get me was Marley and Me. I'm waiting for a movie to get me. This one, I was probably glossy-eyed like 40% of the movie, but it never shed a tear. I don't know how. There's just so much to unpack here. I mean, I would say the only issue I have with this movie is the pacing can be a little bit slow, especially in the first 25 minutes. And also before you learn about Lee's very traumatic past. You really don't like him as a character. He starts fights in bars for no reason. He's just snarky to kind of everybody. And there's a reason. I'm not gonna get into it. And I think the way I'm gonna set up my reviews now is I'm gonna have like a section non-spoiler, and then I'm gonna have a section with spoilers, and I'll put a time mark to where you can skip to the ending to see my final rating. That's how I'm gonna do these reviews, because I wanna talk about spoilers, but I don't want people who haven't seen the movie to get spoiled. So, because you really should go watch this movie, it's incredible. And I feel like Lucas Hedges, who plays the nephew in this movie, Patrick, I feel like he doesn't get nearly like as much credit as other people in this movie. Like Michelle Williams, like she gets like put as like the second most important character. Like her name pops up second in the credits in this movie. It's kind of weird because her character isn't nearly as important, in my opinion, as Lucas Hedges' character, because I mean that's what you're doing in the present. I mean, sure, Michelle Williams has a large point in Lee's past and kind of in the present, but not really. But I want more respect on my boy Patrick. All right, Lucas Hedges does such a good job. I don't know how old he is, but he feels like a real, like high school. He feels real. He's a real character with these real emotions, and it's absolutely devastating. I will say sometimes the flashbacks can feel a bit spotty, because, I mean, the very first flashback in this movie, I didn't know was a flashback at all. I was like, why, what's going on? I didn't know. And you start to pick up on it the more and more, you know, you watch the movie and you start to learn more about Lee's past, and wow, it's some good stuff, but yikes. All right, I think that's all I really have to say about this movie without spoilers. All I'm saying is that it's incredible. Fair warning, it is very sad. Touches on all the heavy stuff that I'm gonna start to mention in my spoiler reviews. So if you don't want any spoilers, skip to this time frame if you want to see my final score. But if you don't care about spoilers, here we go. So warning, I'm gonna be talking about suicide, depression, guilt, loss, all of it. So in case you're curious, if you don't care about spoilers and you're watching this, which you shouldn't, but if you've seen the movie, you guys would know that, yeah, Lee mistakenly burnt his own house down and killed his children. Yep, it's heavy. And then he goes to the police station, probably after his ex-wife probably at this point, Michelle Williams, she leaves him probably, and well, Lee is talking to the police officers, and the night that he burnt his house down, he had a massive party, and then after everyone left, he went out to the grocery store, but he forgot to put the what is it called? The little net thing, the metal net thing, I can't think of the name right now. It's 1:30 a.m. when I'm recording this, so I can't think right now. But he forgot to put that on, and he said a log must have rolled out and burnt the whole place down. Anyway, he's talking to the cops about it, and you get one of the most devastating scenes, in my opinion, where he tries to make himself look guilty. He wants to get arrested. He wants to pay for his actions. And yet the cops let him go because they're like, yeah, it was an accident. You didn't mean to do it. So you get such a tragic moment when he walks out, he grabs one of the cops' guns, and he tries to kill himself. And it's awful. It's such a heart-wrenching scene. The score is absolutely, it's just blasting in your eardrums. It's such a powerful, heavy moment. And of course it fails. And you just see everybody, like you see his dad, his brother rush at him. It's just, it's heavy. It's really sad. I do really enjoy the dynamic between Michelle Williams and Casey Affleck in this movie, just because she does make a reappearance in this movie. You learn that she is, I can't remember if she was pregnant or if she already had a child, but she's married to a guy. And one day, Lee is taking a walk, or I don't remember where he was going, but he sees her. They come across each other, and that's the poster of the movie. This scene is the poster of the movie. And it's this absolutely gut-wrenching scene where she is just she's crying profusely, just, I love you, Lee. I love you so much. I just want to talk to you. I wish I hadn't said the things I did. And Lee is just taken aback. He doesn't know what to do. And the scene it's very hard to interpret because there's so many things going on in Lee's head in this movie. I take it as just him just wanting to be done with everything. He doesn't care anymore. He doesn't want her in his life as a constant reminder of his past actions. And he just tells her, no, I have to go. He keeps repeating it. He's about to cry, and he just walks away as she is bawling, just wanting him to forgive her. If I did have to have another nitpick in this movie, it would be that Lucas Hedges and Casey Affleck, their characters argue so much in this movie. There's constant bickering and just constant arguments between these two that it can get a little old, but old in the sense that I know it's very realistic. It's a very real movie. I mean, that is exactly how these characters would be acting. And even though it can get, like, after like the sixth argument, you're like, oh my gosh, another one, but it's very valid because you know that this is very real. These characters are going through some of the most amount of pain they've ever felt. Maybe not Lee, but I'm sure Patrick, who is Lucas's character, this is definitely the most amount of pain he's ever felt in his life. He doesn't know how to act. I love how much Lee definitely obviously cares a lot about Patrick. He doesn't want Patrick to make mistakes. He wants Patrick to be good. He wants Patrick to have a good life. But I love how much, but Lee just doesn't want to be his guardian. And the last scene, it's not the last shot of them is on the boat, but the last real scene between the two of them, when Patrick is just like, why can't you just stay with me? Why can't you just stay? And Lee just says, I can't beat it. He can't beat it. And Oh my God. It, I mean, you can take that as he can't beat his past trauma, he can't beat his depression, he can't win over his emotions. And it is devastating because you want this movie to have a happy ending where Lee and Patrick are able to overcome the depression. But it's the complete opposite. You literally get told outright that Lee can't beat it. And so this movie has a very unhappy ending. It doesn't end happily. You get zero justice for everything that you just watched. You get no ounce of happiness. It reminds me of a Darren Aronofsky film so much. Not in the sense of it, the way it was made, not like the shots, not like that, but just the fact that it is no happiness, just straight sadness, just straight glossy eyes. This movie is just so effective in having some of the most real conversations I've ever seen. The writing department in this movie is incredible. The arguments in this movie, like I've said earlier, feel so real, and that's heavily due to the fantastic acting. Casey Affleck gives a performance of the ages. I mean, he's been sidelined pretty hard in a lot of movies, but man, his performance is just devastating in here, and is one of my personal favorites I've seen this month. Absolutely deserved the Oscar. Even though I really enjoyed Andrew Garfield and Hacksaw Ridge, I think Casey Affleck deserved this one. I haven't seen Denzel Washington, and I know there was another one, and I've seen La La Land, and Ryan Gosling was really good, but man, Casey Affleck is incredible. This movie was nominated for Best Picture, and off of the ones I've seen, I think it's easily the best. I have not seen Arrival yet. That's definitely the one that I want to watch first out of this category, but I have seen Moonlight, which is the winner, and I mean, I think I watched that one back in January. I think Moonlight is pretty overrated, and I think this movie is miles better. This is just a movie that, with time, has just gotten better, just because it really made me appreciate how well a movie can be made despite having the most depressing, most gut-wrenching, most heart-wrenching story ever. Definitely one of the saddest movies I've seen. It's just, like, have you ever just, like, get choked up? Like, where you can't talk, you just feel a lump in your throat and you can't talk. You basically have that for 2 hours and 17 minutes while you watch that. This movie is 2 hours and 17, right? I can't remember. I think it is. But seriously, if you want a sad movie to watch, I highly recommend this one. Again, fair warning, very heavy stuff in this movie, but I think it is incredible, and I cannot recommend it enough. I'm going to be singing its praises for a long time. I'm feeling a strong 8 to a light 9 on this one. Transition. If you guys liked this review, if you've seen Manchester by the Sea, did you love it, did you hate it? What movie should I review next? If you want to check out some movie ratings without long in-depth reviews, check out my letterbox right here. And I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, evening, or night. See ya. Bye.